Thank you, Steve, for the opportunity to read and the opportunity over the years. The support of the Café Review has been very important to me personally. And am I getting through?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a particular issue of the Café Review, which Steve allowed me to guest edit. And you don't mind, Steve, if I mention it.
Absolutely not.
And I had come into the possession of a manuscript of a very little known Latin American poet, little known in English, but known all over the world as one of the greatest living poets of the 20th century.
Absolutely.
And that's Juan Elman.
Yeah, all right.
And I had a manuscript of Elman selected, translated by a good friend. I'd worked under Hardy St. Martin. And Steve, to his everlasting credit, my everlasting gratitude, said, run with it. Take the some of these poems, put out what you need to do. And so I put out a tribute issue to Juan Elman, together with a selection of Elman's poems and tributes from Latin American poets and some American poets. And it was this which allowed me to find a way to get Elman's poems into print. So thank you, and I want to open up with just one of Elman's poems in this issue of the Café Review. This is a collector's item. I don't know whether you have any of these on sale, but this is called The Art of Poetry. Of all trades, I've chosen one that isn't mine. Like a hard taskmaster, it makes me work day and night in pain and love, out in the rain, in dark times, when tenderness of the soul opens its arms, when illness weighs down my hands. The grief of others, tears, handkerchiefs raised in greeting, promises in the middle of autumn or fire, kisses of reunion or goodbye, everything makes me work with words, with blood. I've never been the owner of my ashes, my poems, obscure faces, write them like firing bullets at death.
Wow.
Okay. I'd like to read two poems of mine that appear in the Café Review, which are Gravity. Isaac Newton wanted to burn down the house his mother slept in with her second husband after abandoning him to his grandmother. Spent much of his adult years in a wooden shack attached to his room at Trinity College trying to distill gold from dross. Decoding the shape of space in the algorithms of Ezekiel's description of the old temple in Jerusalem. Measurements to clarify laws governing the character and origin of motion. A digital man in an analog world likened an apple to the moon and fell too soon before there was language sufficient to his thought. Spectral lines. I dream symmetries moving from seen to unseen, the invisible patterns that sustain falling leaves, the currents in stone, water, and air, sacred geometries pooling in the dark cave I prepare for in the calculus of autumn. I'm going to take this opportunity to read just one more poem from my recent collection, Gathering Sparks. And this is called The Pharmacon for Max Blagg. And it involves my response to chemotherapy. And the Pharmacon is Plato's suggestion that what cures us also contains poison. The poison and the cure are often contained in the same substance. Okay, it's really the principle of homeopathy. The pharmacon for Max Blagg. Max wrote to me, "You are well fitted into the world. You have earned your place and know how to conduct yourself with grace. And for that I feel the gods will give you favor. Love, Max." Beautiful statement. Jung spent his middle years like Dante exploring the underworld to answer as closely as imagination would allow the decisive question, are we related or not to something infinite? If ever there were an initiation to such a world, it's this one I entered, infused with chemicals that are both cure and poison. Pharmacon does both to me at the same time. A rabbit hole I fall through, a world where borders of worlds dissolve, but curiously not as expected, filled with the fear of death. A walk through the valley of the shadow. I am David without sling or kingdom or certainty I might think my way out of this condition, but find myself entangled in invisible roots of what is unknowable that combine to form structures more quickly than I can hold on to them. I am forced to let go, stare for the first time into absolute absence. Everything that held the world together, swallowed by that faceless face, abandonment, until it seems I have no choice but to embrace it, decipher its message. Nothing else to do on the way to a destination which has always been the center of a circle square. Suddenly realize just how important it is I fall in love with whatever I find there.